purpose of this video is to help you improve accuracy in remote viewing using a couple of tips and tricks. Keep them front of mind as you're doing your session because they really do help. Tip number 1 is to move fast and record everything. Your job when you're remote viewing is to jot down your impressions. That should be your only focus, is perceiving and recording these impressions as they come through. If you find that the flow of information as it's coming in is kind of getting muddied, maybe you're thinking about the data as it's coming through and wondering, is this good data? Is this important? Is this on target? Any of those kind of interjections of thought or judgment on the data are going to well, first of all, slow you down. And secondly, they're going to knock you off target a little bit. It's important to jot down the impressions as they come in. If you think about, daydreaming or meditation, we're used to kind of letting thoughts kind of flow through. Maybe you acknowledge them and let them kind of move on. We're not accustomed, generally speaking, to jotting down everything in our daydreams. We're used to kind of letting that stuff flow in and flow out again. If you're into meditation, this is especially true. You're kind of trained to let things go. But with remote viewing, your acknowledgement of your thoughts and impressions as they come through is writing them down. You should be going really fast with this. You should write down the impressions as fast as they come in, or as close to as fast as they come in as you can. The more time between impressions that you allow for the left brain to interject and create analytical overlays, the less accurate you're going to be. This is especially important early in the session when you're doing your sensory data. You want to be jotting this stuff down as fast as it comes through. Same with your AOLs. The second tip is to purge AOLs when they do interject into your session. Again, an AOL is anything you can name. If you're jotting down impressions during the session and something you can name pops into awareness, it's important to write it down, but write it down off to the side in the AOL column. You can purge your AOLs just by dropping your pen. If an AOL is kind of bugging you or sticking around in your head and not allowing you to sort of move forward and get those impressions flowing again, you can drop your pen as sort of a symbol to the subconscious to purge those AOLs. Again, this all works on the basis of intention. Intention is super important. So if you intend to purge that AOL from awareness by dropping your pen, that's what your subconscious is going to do. You can think of it like a short break to reconnect to the target. If your AOL has interjected into the data stream and kind of slowed down the flow of information, by dropping the pen and just taking a deep breath, you can bring yourself back to the baseline, that spot, that still point that you want to be in for receiving data. Again, AOLs are not a bad thing. Sometimes they contain great information, but you do want to take those quick little breaks to purge and kind of reset the signal in between AOLs. This can help quite a bit with accuracy. Also, when you do this, you may find that later in the session, the same AOLs come back again, and this is okay. There's usually some good information kind of hidden within those AOLs, and sometimes if they come up again and again, that can, really be a signal that you're on the right track. That being said, just make sure that as you're going through, especially the early stages of the session, you're writing everything down and you're dropping the pen to purge your AOLs. This brings me to the next tip, which is taking breaks. Well, you can take these short pen drop breaks to reset the signal line. It's okay to take breaks for a few minutes or even, pause a session and come back to it the next day after you've had some rest. This stuff can be pretty taxing on your brain when you're doing it. Like when you're deep in a remote viewing session, you're in a cognitive state that's very similar to taking a test. It's pretty intensive stuff, when you're really right in it and in the flow and getting her done. Taking breaks can be a good way to sort of reset your brain a little bit. If you're feeling cloudy on the target or stuff isn't flowing well, or you say maybe it was flowing well at the start of the session, but you feel like you're kind of hitting a wall. It can be useful to take a break, maybe go outside. You can take really short breaks, even a minute or two, just to listen to some music or to take a drink of water. It's okay to take longer breaks too. Sometimes maybe you'll get partway through a session, maybe you're half an hour into it and you want to stop for the night. Taking breaks can add perspective and kind of flush out the buffer in your mental hard drive, I guess. It's a great thing to do. Next tip is to get creative with your commands. Commands are how you cue your subconscious to do different things. You can have it move to a different location at the site, look at the target from different angles, get more clarity. After each command, it helps to sketch a little ideogram just to kind of get the data associated with that command in focus. Again, these ideograms are sort of your cue to subconscious to execute the command, whether that's writing down your target number at the beginning of the session or drawing a new ideogram to go with your move command. Basically, the command is used to direct you to different parts of your data. And the more you do remote viewing, the more you'll kind of get creative with this. I like to use one, move to an aspect of the target I haven't seen yet. Another good one is, what is something I've missed about this target? Say you're working on element A of your session. You could say, move to A so it is perceivable and clear in your command. Then draw a little ideogram. It'll probably look a bit different from your last one. And you'll be now at a new aspect of this target where you can perceive it in a clear way. At this point, you just, again, wait for your impressions to come through. Commands are your method of moving around the target and getting different perspectives during the session. The more creative you get with them, the more creative the results are going to be. Another tip is to try mind mapping. Mind mapping is a reliable way to take a data point and just kind of ping between that data point and other relevant pieces of information associated with it. I'm going to have a separate video on this, but essentially a mind map is where you start with an idea. Maybe it's an AOL that you want to unpack. You write this idea or impression down in the middle of your page and circle it. You branch out from this original circle with any ideas that kind of fall out of the main idea naturally. All right, to summarize these tips again, record everything, move fast, take breaks, purge your AOLs, get creative with your move commands, and don't be afraid to try out mind mapping to expand upon impressions that come up. Incorporating these tips should improve your accuracy and keep your sessions flowing.